Hello, and welcome to Built to Work, developing competency-based curriculum to meet the needs of the HIM workforce. My name is Jasmine Agnew. I am the program chair for the Bachelor of Science in Health Information Management program in the College of Health Professions at Western Governors University. I'm a native of Baldwin, Mississippi, and graduated from Itawamba Community College in Tupelo, Mississippi, with my Associate of Applied Science in Health Information Technology. I'm also a graduate of the University of Alabama at Birmingham with a Bachelor of Science in Health Information Management and the University of Tennessee Health Science Center with a Master's in Health Informatics and Information Management. So as you can see, health information has been a huge part of my life for the last 20 years. I'm so excited to be here talking with you today about competency-based education and how employers and educators can work together to help shape the future of the HM workforce. I hope this presentation is very informative and can help you find ways to support the future of our field. So let's get started. Our presentation points today, first, what is competency-based education? Skills-based instruction and competency-based education, traditional versus competency-based education models, competencies and skills, employer perspectives on competency-based education. Then we're going to do a case study together and see how we can apply what we've learned about competency-based education, implementing these skills and competencies into our curriculum, and then we'll talk about the BS and HIM program at Western Governors. So first, what is competency-based education? Competency-based education is a buzzword. We hear it a lot in education and in the industry, and it provides a framework for designing and implementing programs that focus on desired performance. Competency-based education is a shared responsibility between teachers and learners, and the end goal is reaching competency. The explicit goal of competency-based education is establishing observable and measurable performance metrics. So it's not just about what you know, it's also about what you as a learner can do. Competency-based education design requires that curriculum is designed to help students develop those skills by assessing how well they perform on assessments. And while the body of literature is still growing in reference to competency-based education, research suggests that competency-based education leads to an improvement in the development of skills and is a valid way to assess students. Competencies consist of three main ingredients: knowledge, skills, and attitudes. A competent person who's performing a task possesses a combination of these three ingredients in order to be effective and to contribute to the health information management workforce. Competency-based education focuses on outcomes of learning rather than the process of teaching. We're looking at the outcomes. We're looking at when these students leave our program, what are the outcomes? What have they learned and what can they apply to their time in the field? It focuses on the demonstration of abilities in the addition to knowledge. Again, what you know is really important, but it's equally important as what you can do. And we focus less on time-based training and seek to promote greater learner-centeredness. So let's talk about skills-based instruction and competency-based education. Curriculum decisions are based on the knowledge, skills, and attitudes needed to be competent in the profession upon graduation. Within health professions, education, competency-based curriculum explicitly connects professional skills and behaviors to the curriculum. So what they learn in the curriculum, not only is it what we've always taught them about the field, but it also is about how to do things and how to apply what they read in these texts that we use across the field to their actions once they get into the field. So here we have a relational chart that compares traditional to competency-based education. So I'll give you just a moment just to look at it, just to take this in. In traditional education, students advance at the end of a fixed period, even if they haven't mastered competencies and skills. You know, most of us have a grading scale, and a student can make an 80 and still have a B in your class. But there may be some individual competencies and skills and some assessments that they didn't perform really well on, but they've still made high enough to pass the class. Well, in competency-based education, students continue to receive instructional support until they fully master concepts and skills. When they turn in those assessments, if they have not met competency, they'll get instructional support through remediation until they master those, and then they'll move on to the next concept. In traditional education, assessments are used for summative or end-of-unit purposes. They are conducted at predetermined points and administered at the same time, in the same format, and covering the same content. Well, in competency-based education, assessments, especially formative, are placed in the course throughout the student's learning cycle. They're used to gauge a student's progress throughout the learning pathway. It's also a great way to see where students are performing really well and where they need that extra instructional support. Students can receive feedback coaching on the competencies where they need the remediation, and summative assessments are placed at the end of the course to assess the mastery of course competencies. This includes all units. In traditional education, learning outcomes emphasize academic skills, memorization, and comprehension of content. Some courses may align to higher order skills to demonstrate their knowledge, but in competency-based education, learning outcomes emphasize competencies that require deep understanding and application of research to practice and help them develop lifelong learning skills. Now, here's a really good diagram, diagram of the difference in traditional and competency-based education models. I'll give you just a minute to look at that. So, the traditional model, our curriculum is put in place. We derive our educational objectives and our assessments based on the curriculum. But in the competency-based education model, we start first with the health needs of the society. We start first with asking external stakeholders and industry professionals, what is it that students need to know? Based on their feedback and what we receive from our surveys and our research methods, we develop competencies and outcomes. And then, based on those competencies, we then develop the curriculum and the assessments. So once students move through curriculum and students take those assessments, they meet those competencies, and those competencies prepare them for what is needed in the healthcare labor market. So a little more discussion on competencies and skills. Competencies is what a person can do, how they think, and how they behave. Skills are learned abilities. They are what a person can or cannot do. Competencies are created from the identification of industry relevant skills. There are soft skills and then there are hard skills. Soft skills, for example, are communication, listening, and collaboration. Those soft skills are universal and can be used across the entire spectrum. They can be used in the field, they can be used in education, they can even be used in their personal life. But hard skills are related to what we do in HIM. For example, coding, data entry, and even software operation. So that is the difference between skills and competencies, and then to be more granular, soft skills and hard skills. And then here's an awesome chart that talks about a few examples of skills and competencies. If you'll take just a moment, you'll see the relationship between those skills and how they're valuable to meeting competencies. For instance, if a person has critical thinking skills, then they are equipped to lead a project or team, regardless of the size or the location, because you've got to be able to think critically to find solutions in leading a project. If a student has oral communication skills, then they're really good at meeting facilitation, because when you're facilitating a meeting, you've got to be able to convey your message clearly and succinctly to the people who are there gathered to meet. If you have active listening skills, then you're really good at conflict resolution, because active listeners can listen to both sides and come up with helpful solutions by hearing the voice of everyone that's speaking. And then time management, if they have really great time management skills, then they're competent in change management, because change management deals with the people side of change, which is equally as important as the process side. So as you can see, there are a few skills and the relationship that they have with the competencies that we build into our curriculum. So let's look at the employer perspectives on competency-based education. In 2016, Joy Henry conducted a study to understand how employers view degrees earned through competency-based education. Many employers were unfamiliar or only somewhat familiar with competency-based education, but once they were familiarized with the CBE model, employers noted that the graduates from competency-based programs bring value to their organization with mastery of competencies aligned with their industry needs. So the more familiar employers become with the CBE model, the more targeting the recruitment activities for the new employees. Employers contribute to CBE curriculum by collaborating with these educational institutions to incorporate the appropriate industry relevant competencies. So if you have a job opening and you ask that manager, what is it that our students would need to know to be able to be successful in this position, and they give you a list of everything that they need to know, then you can take that and place it into your curriculum so that when students learn these things, even if they don't get that particular job, they know that particular skill set and they've met those particular industry relevant competencies. So what do employers say about our graduates? Well, based on the 2018 survey of 300 employees of WU graduates by Harris Poll Online, 94% said they would hire another WU graduate. 87% rated the job performance of WU graduates as excellent or very good. 97% said WU graduates meet or exceed expectations. 97% also said the WGU graduates were prepared for their jobs, and 93% rate the soft skills of WGU grads as equal to or better than grads from other institutions. So as you can see, those are some pretty good numbers because our students, when they go, they're ready. They're ready for the workforce. They're ready to take on the challenges that come through actually moving from being a student into being an employee. So now, let's look at two graduates from two different programs. We will compare the student from a traditional program to a student from a competency-based program. All right, XYZ Hospital is looking for an HIM analyst. The application analyst supports the implementation of health information management related applications, works with the HIM team members, the manager, and stakeholders to evaluate and design and determine modifications to existing applications that will effectively accomplish desired objectives. They'll provide technical support as needed, coordinate work assignments given in order to meet deadlines, and ensure continued progress toward assignment completion. Share experience and expertise with other members of the team. An RHIA or RHIT is preferred. Let's look at our students. First, we have Sandra. Sandra is a graduate of a traditional HIM program. She graduated with a 4.0. She completed her coursework in 4 years. She didn't understand how some concepts could be applied to the HIM department, but learned the content for the class. She spent time in her PPE sites and saw some of the concepts she learned in action, but they differed from what she learned in her classwork. She's been studying and she's ready to take her RHIA. Now let's look at Christopher. Christopher is a graduate of a competency-based HIM program. He graduated from the competency-based HIM program. There was no set time for each course, so he was able to work independently at his own pace to master the content. Real-world scenarios were embedded in the course, and he was able to apply the knowledge that he learned from his coursework in the program. The program helped him develop critical thinking skills and to find solutions to everyday problems. He's been studying and is ready to take his RHIA. He is also preparing for micro-credentials in other areas that cover skills needed for the workplace. So now that we have all this information, now that we see these two students, the question is, which student is better prepared for the workforce? Right now, I want you to send me an email and tell me which student you think is better for this course. I'm going to drop my email at the end of the session. So you'll have it and you'll tell me who you think is better fit. I think the best fit for the job is Christopher. So now that we've talked about competency-based education, we've talked about the focus, Let's talk about how we can implement skills and competencies into our curriculum. So how we implemented these skills is that we collaborated with industry professionals to identify desired skills for graduates. Using a survey results, we compiled feedback and created competencies that were used to develop the curriculum. The survey was sent to HIM leaders asking for feedback on the following question. What are 3 things you wish all new graduates knew how to do before they began working for you or in your department? Here is a shortened list of all of the things that HIM leaders said they wish the students knew how to do the day they started in their department. Does your curriculum have all of these things? Does your department have a need for employees to know these things? Project management skills, how to read and interpret federal regulations and state law, working collaboratively with teams across departments to accomplish goals, effective communication, Excel dashboard and data visualization skills, drafting policies and procedures, and conflict resolution skills. Imagine how effective a new grad would be if they came in with these skills at baseline and you worked with them to become even greater in your department. It's pretty awesome. So we took real world activities and assessments to teach skills needed in the workforce. We constructed assessments focused on evaluation and synthesis rather than recall and regurgitation. Summative assessments included real world scenarios and our objective and performance assessments, and we'll talk about those and what they are in just a moment. We constructed activities that develop students' written and oral communication skills through applications such as Panopto and through our performance assessments. Then the assessments and activities covered content by applying concepts and theories to real world practice. So let's talk about our method of assessment. We have objective assessments and performance assessments. Objective assessments is a form of questioning in which there's a single correct answer. It is unbiased, it is impartial. And examples of objective assessments are true and false questions, multiple choice, and matching. But then we also had performance assessments. These were tasks that assess skills and knowledge by demonstrating the learner's ability to put an understanding into action. Examples of performance assessments are essays, simulations, and case studies. So now that we've talked about what competency-based education is, we've talked about how we can work with stakeholders to develop curriculum, we take their feedback, and we develop a program that is not only very academically rich, but it also meets the needs of society and meets the needs of healthcare providers. I want to share some information with you about the Western Governors University Bachelor of Science in Health Information Management program. Our program is a well-designed program with input from members of the Health Information Management Advisory Board and the WGU Health Professions Council. So we have a group that helps us to shape healthcare in general in the College of Health Professions, and then we have a board that is specifically dedicated to helping us make changes to the HIM program. With the guidance of this group, this curriculum that we create is focused on best practices in HIM. And because of this group, we're also able to continually monitor the industry to ensure that we capture the latest trends in healthcare to ensure curriculum relevance. You know, that's one of the very important things for our curriculum is to make sure that what we are teaching is something that once they leave us, they can take it, go into the workforce, and be successful. Our program currently is 121 credits. Among our graduates with no previous coursework or transferable credits, it takes an average of 36 months to complete the program. And so you may wonder, well, why is it so much shorter than other programs? And it's because we are not based on time. We're based on meeting competency. So we have some classes where students can go through and they'll be able to finish that course in 3 to 4 weeks. Then we do have some courses that take a little bit longer, but it all depends on how much time you devote to these courses. And so that makes the time a little bit shorter. And then those who transfer credits or an associate degree from a KHEM accredited program can finish in 18 to 24 months. And so those students that bring those credits in, I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but what it means is that they bring in everything that they learn at the associate degree level. We apply it where we can, and then they're able to move swiftly through the program. Our program is programmatically accredited by KHEM, or the Commission on the Accreditation for Health Informatics and Information Management Education. Students that complete our program are eligible to take the RHIA at the end of their degree program because of this accreditation, and currently our students have an 89% pass rate for the RHIA in the most recent reporting period. Now, considering that the national average, and that number is about 70%, us having a 89% pass rate speaks volumes to the caliber of students that we put out. So just a plug for our students in the event that you have some openings in your departments. Our admissions criteria is pretty simple. We ask that you demonstrate IT, healthcare, or business experience in either through one of the following. Option one, you can bring in an associate's degree in an allied health field, information technology, business administration, or from a KHEM accredited, or if it was prior to 2006, kind of like mine was, an AHEMA approved associate degree program. If you have an associate degree program, we're going to bring you in, we're going to put you right where you need to be so that you can be successful. If you don't have an degree, but you have a current active HIM or revenue cycle industry certification, which is a CCS, a CPC, CCSP, any of those revenue cycle or HIM certifications, you can come in through that route, or if you come in through WGU's pathway, coming through our MCAP, MACAP, or approved WGU Academy pathway. Just to give you a little information, the MCAP is our medical coding career advancement program, and then the MACAP is our medical assisting career accelerator program. Most of those programs are in other states, and so we don't have a lot of students that are approved through that method. And then the WGU Academy is for those students that have been out of school for a long time and need to get those remedial courses before they enter into the course of study. And then option three, if you don't have an associate degree and you don't have an HIM or revenue cycle industry certification, if you can show me a resume with 1 year of healthcare related work experience within the last 3 years, a healthcare related certification, even if it's not HIM or revenue cycle, or 3 years of IT experience or business management experience, I'll review your resume, and then we can even set up a call to talk about whether HIM is really a good fit for you. And in most cases, we have a lot of success with those students because they've made up their mind that that's what they want to do. So for students that already possess an RHIT, and would like to get their bachelor's degree to sit for the RHIA, we do have what's called a block transfer program. Graduates from a KHEM accredited associate degree program are eligible for 65 transfer credits into WGU's BSHIM program. And so I know many of you may wonder, well, how can I get 65 transfer credits when my program was only 60 or 62? Well, it's because we base our credits on competencies and not on just credit hours. It's based on when we went through and did our crosswalk to see what matched the associate degree program and what we could take in as a transfer credit unit. Those numbers were a little bit higher than just transferring in credits that are counted in a traditional program. And then if you're a graduate from a KHEM accredited associate degree program and you also have your RHIT, you're eligible to up to 69 transfer credits into the HIM program. And so that means you'll get the 65 transfer credits, plus you'll get 4 additional units just for having your RHIT. So another just note that I want to share with you is that most post-secondary institutions will allow you to transfer a certain number of credits as long as you finish the last 25% with your degree granting institution. So for us, we will take, of course, if you have this associate degree, we will take the 65 to 69 credits, but we will also take up to 90 additional baccalaureate level credits so that you will finish your last 25% with us. That's a really great thing. So now that we've talked about the program, we've talked about our program, let's see what our employers have to say about our graduates. Based on a 2018 survey of 300 employers of WGU graduates by the Harris Poll Online, 94% said they would hire another WGU graduate. 87% rated the job performance of WGU graduates as excellent or very good. 97% said WGU graduates meet or exceed their expectations. 97% said WGU graduates were prepared for their jobs, and 93% rate the soft skills of WGU grads as equal to or better than grads from other institutions. So let's think about what that means. That means that when our graduates leave, not only do they have the skills that they need to know to do basic job functions, but they also have those soft skills that teach them how to be good time managers, how to think critically, and how to communicate. That makes for a really well-rounded candidate that comes into your department. So considering all of the work that we have done, if you have a HIM department or you are a part of a health and healthcare organization, you may be asking, well, how can I help? Well, the first thing you can do is become familiar with competency-based education and skills-based instruction. And the value in that is that with competency-based education and skills-based instruction, you can use that same structure to train your employees in your departments. You can use that same structure to gauge how much help they need to learn new processes. And if you bring in people that have competency-based education degrees, they're already familiar with how competency-based education works. The next thing you can do, you can volunteer to work with colleges that request information regarding how they can add real life skills and competencies to their curriculum. One of the greatest things that healthcare organizations can do to help institutions, educational institutions, is to give them real life situations, minus all of course, the patient data, but giving them real life situations on what students should be prepared to do. What do you see most often? MPI cleanup. That's something that even back in the day when I came through the program that we had to learn how to do, to look at these charts to see how they compare and how you find duplicates and how you clean it up so that you can maintain your MPI. Or if you have old records that have been depersonalized, if you have policies that you need to develop, give them those real life scenarios so that they can build it into their curriculum and students will be prepared once they get to your department. And then finally, provide professional practice experience opportunities for students and allow students to put their research and didactic instruction into practice. It's okay if you have opportunities where students can come and do their PPE remotely. They don't have to come to your department. Even if you have a project or something that you would like for them to work on, give them that opportunity, especially if they're coming from a program that has prepared them for the workforce. So in conclusion, as HIM educators, it is imperative for the future of our profession to transform health information education programs to include competencies and skills to meet healthcare delivery and market demand to prepare learners for the workforce. As employers, it's important to work collaboratively with educational institutions to provide feedback about workforce needs. As the field evolves, so should our efforts to create self-directed and skilled HIM professionals who are ready to face the challenges of the healthcare industry with confidence and competence. Here are just some of the references that we've used for this presentation. Please take a moment, jot down what you need. You can use it to further your research regarding competency-based education and even in your development of programs and initiatives in your departments or even in your programs. I hope that this has been very helpful. I hope that this has been very useful. And I hope that if you have any questions, you won't hesitate to reach out and ask me, hey, whatever you need. Here's my contact information. I would love to hear from some of you. Some of you I know from back when I was a bright-eyed student at Itawamba Community College, going through the Health Information Technology program, as well as when I worked for the University of Mississippi in Jackson. It was a wonderful experience. I learned so much from so many people. But I would love to be a contact if you have any questions about competency-based education. I'll give you just a moment to get my information. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you soon and helping you to enhance and promote the field of health information management.